Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let me see if I can. Sorry, I'm getting everything ready. Hey, oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't want you to. Oh, no, zoom it all the way. There we go. Perfect. Welcome, everybody. Let me let the people get in here. Notifications out because I literally just went live and scheduled and didn't even give the people some time to get in here. Did my thumbnail go up? Hold up. Oh, it did not. 1 second, guys. Let me make sure everything's set up on my end. 1 second. We have a little bit of breaking news. Welcome, everybody. Let the people get in here, guys. We got some breaking news. We have some breaking news. I saw this. Listen, I saw this and I literally jumped up. I've been cleaning all day, being busy and everything. We have some breaking news. Hold up. I just want to make sure everything's set up on my end. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. Looks like everything's good. Maybe. Hold up. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Didi just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Didi. Thank you, y'all. Breaking news, guys. Breaking news. Let me let the people know that we're live. We just started. So we have some breaking news from the Los Angeles Times, guys. Breaking news. For those that have been following, of course, the D4VD Celeste Rivas case. We have been on it, on top, really in the weeds, in the bushes of just basically everything that's out there. I'm gonna need everybody to take a minute and please like the video, hype the video so the news can get out there. We live now, letting the people of the Discord know that we're live as well. We just started and we have some breaking news, y'all. Okay. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Shout out to everybody. I promise that I will acknowledge everybody as people come in here. Welcome, welcome. Okay. This is straight from the LA Times, okay? LA grand jury now probing mystery of dead teen stuffed in trunk of D4VD's Tesla, source say. So a Los Angeles County grand jury is hearing evidence, okay? Hearing evidence. They're now hearing evidence, just so people are aware, is hearing evidence related to the death of a teenage girl whose body was discovered stuffed inside the trunk of singer D4VD's Tesla earlier this year. 2 law enforcement told the Times. The revelations follow the gruesome discovery of the remains of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez in a Hollywood tow yard on September 8th. Although the Los Angeles Police Department has publicly declined to characterize the girl's death as a homicide, a recent court filing by the LAPD detective referred to the case as a murder investigation. Now, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence. Y'all, this is what we have been waiting for. We've been waiting for this. Okay, I'm clapping because I'm like, the joy that I feel, I just have this joy in my heart right now. We've been waiting for this. For those that have followed the story from the time that it broke to where we're at right now, this is amazing news, y'all. Amazing news. Whew, okay. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence to what's now known an investigative grand jury, according to one of the sources who spoke on the conditions of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the case to media. You got all the leaks from the law enforcement people. One of the sources said the grand jury was in session for several days mid-November. But it is unclear whether prosecutors had completed their presentation of evidence. Prosecutors may convene an investigative grand jury to subpoena witnesses and compel other evidence, including videos. Such investigative panels may recommend charges, but cannot themselves return an indictment. In addition to the 2 law enforcement sources, a court petition provided to the Times on Monday contained a J GJ number, grand jury, okay? Referencing the existence of a grand jury. In that document, the LAPD detective Joshua Byers of the Robicide Homicide Division successfully persuaded a judge to bar the LA County Medical Examiner's Office from divulging autopsy results and other details related to the girl's death that would otherwise be public. Oh my goodness, y'all. What are you confused about? You got to let me know what you're confused about. Let me know what you guys are confused about. That's a great question. They're leaking info everywhere, y'all, within the own house. But the best news is that there is a grand jury that's hearing all of this. That's like, my heart is just so happy right now to hear this. Okay? A grand jury is hearing all of this. And I'm here for it. Not yet. Not officially. I think after the indictment, that's, well, clearly there needs to be an indictment. So the grand jury is listening to all of this. That is why SF is not talking. He may be asked to present. We don't know anything at this point. Okay? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It was Byers who characterized the probe into the girl's death as an investigation into a murder, according to the document. Okay, Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman, who handles some of the county's most high-profile murder cases, has called several witnesses before the grand jury, according to one of the law enforcement sources. Silverman did not immediately respond to a request for comment Wednesday. The district attorney's office said in a statement it could not disclose any information about grand jury proceedings. An LAPD spokesperson referred the Times to a statement issued earlier this week, which did not address the existence of a grand jury. An attorney for the 20-year-old singer, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, did not respond to a request for comment. Detectives have spent months investigating the circumstances surrounding the girl's death, as well as her relationship with D4VD. The performer's Tesla has been abandoned on street in the Hollywood Hills for several weeks before it was removed. A tow yard worker noticed a foul smell coming from the Tesla and alerted LAPD. Inside the trunk, police found a bag containing Celeste's remains. She weighed under 71 pounds and had a tattoo on her finger, according to the details released by the medical examiners prior to the court order. Celeste's body was discovered the day after her 15th birthday. LAPD Captain Scott Williams, who leads the robbery homicide division, said the girl had been dead for at least several weeks. On Monday, Williams said the body had not been decapitated or frozen, as some media outlets reported, TMZ. Detectives determined that Tesla had been left parked along Bluebird Avenue since late July, around the time that D4VD began a national tour. The tour was canceled soon after the death investigation drew worldwide media attention. D4VD, a young singer whose music straddled the lines between R&B, indie rock, has raised eyebrows with some of his musical themes, particularly in the wake of Celeste's death. The Queens-born vocalist has appeared in a music video filled with violent imagery. A young woman with an apparent chest wound lies on a bed as the singer hovers over her blindfold, his white shirt splattered in blood. In another video, One More Dance, D4VD drags a person who bears a singer's likeness to a car where a couple stuffs the person into the trunk. Romantic Homicide, his most popular track with more than 1 billion plays on Spotify, ends with the lyrics, "In the back of my mind, I caged you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." Lyrics. Long before the discovery of her body, Celeste had run away from her Lake Elsinore home. She was in the 7th grade. Let me stop right here. I'm so glad that they're saying a little bit more about her. She was in the 7th grade. She was 14, not 15. She was not a this kind of girl or that kind of girl. She could have ran away for numerous reasons, right? She could have been groomed, the narrative that people have been trying to, scrap and remove after the D4VD name. She could have been groomed. There's a lot that could have happened in this situation. Lord have mercy. This is great news again, but this is insider sources from the LA Times. Now, please know that the LA Times also got some exclusives during the week, right? After the People exclusive from Scott Williams to debunk TMZ and other outlets about the decapitation and the frozen part. All right. Now we're talking that LAPD's got some exclusive law enforcement sources that basically said that there's a grand jury, a secret investigative grand jury that has been meeting to move forward with this whole situation with D4VD. Now it makes sense to me why there's got to be a kibosh, silence to the medical examiner's website, because they don't want people probing, calling, everybody else that's saying different things and whatnot. They want there to be a complete silence because they're actually moving with the grand jury, which to us that want justice for Celeste, that's what we want. We want there to be a grand jury. We want there to return an indictment. We want there to be charges. And I don't know what this detective has seen or what, but clearly he is calling this a murder. A murder. This grand jury has been meeting for several weeks at this point, according to the Times. And this is what we have. Wow. This is, and I don't know why the Times would lie, but you kind of have to put that out there because, you did have TMZ and everybody. But if there has been grand jury deliberations, meetings, review of evidence, I'm here for it, y'all. This is amazing news because guess what? What comes after that? If they move forward, an indictment happens. Okay, a murder charge happens. Then the ball and the wheels of justice start to move. We are right where we want to be. We may not be getting, everybody might not be getting the news that we want right away at the time that we want it, but they are moving forward. And this is amazing freaking news. Okay, let's keep moving. They further say, long before the discovery of her body, she had ran away. She was in the 7th grade and her family had reported her missing at least 3 times in 2024. According to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, during the time she appeared alongside D4VD online, and law enforcement sources said she resided at a rental home. Look at this. This is interesting. During the time she appeared alongside D4VD online, remember that streaming video? And law enforcement sources said she resided at a rental home with the singer. Okay. So when she was running away, she was very likely at that rental spot. Okay. The pair met through social media sources previously told that by the Times. And this is what sources told the Times. Detectives have been working for weeks to trace Celeste's final moments and to determine any connections with D4VD. As part of their investigation, detectives searched the Hollywood Hills home where D4VD lived and removed electronic devices and other items from the residence, which the singer's manager had leased, according to the owner. On Tuesday, the LAPD said it was some evidence that D4VD went to Santa Barbara County in the spring. LAPD is not refuting that. They actually put that on their statement. All right. Sorry, y'all. It's the holiday season, so people are coming and going. Okay. So 1 second. Where did I leave off? Here I left. So on Tuesday, the LAPD said that there was some evidence that D4VD went to Santa Barbara County in the spring. The reasons for the spring trip is under investigations, but it has drawn no conclusions about the relevance of the case. Okay, what happened there? We don't know. In the middle of the night, that's what we were told. TMC was accurate about this. This whatever source, this was an accurate thing that was put out there that even is confirmed by the LAPD. Okay, Celeste first disappeared last year on Valentine's Day. Her mother made an emotional plea on Facebook for help in locating her daughter. Okay, so D4VD shot the fame, posting clips from the video game Fortnite to YouTube and other social medias, and then pivoted to making his own music and scored a hit with Romantic Homicide. Investigators believe that more than one person was involved. This is accurate. Look, more than one person was involved in the handling of the teen's body in the months before her remains were found in the Tesla. You're talking about there might be more than, if a grand jury is meeting, it's very likely that there's going to be multiple arrests here, my friends. Very, very, very likely that it's not just going to be D4VD, because it sounds like there were other people that were involved in concealing her body, hiding it, depending on what they did to her body exactly, according to two law enforcement sources familiar with the probe. So there were others that were involved in this. LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, who serves as the department's chief detectives, who serves as department chief of detectives, said this week that accountability is coming. Our RHD detectives have been working. They're going to get justice for Celeste. Look at this. I love that Alan Hamilton said this, because they're seeing this as a complete murder, homicide, whatever. They're seeing it this way. No one is off the table, including D4VD himself. Hamilton said, contrary to some reports, the investigators haven't sought the performance cooperation. Okay. Hamilton said, contrary to some reports, the investigators haven't sought the performers' cooperation. Okay. On Monday, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office revealed it has been barred from disclosing any details about Hernandez's death by the court order. Chief Medical Examiner Dr. O'Day, I don't know how to say his last name, seemed to question the wisdom of sealing his department's findings. Okay, he gave a long statement about where he stands. In his court declaration, Breyer wrote that making autopsy and medical findings public will reveal or tend to reveal the ongoing investigation and the integrity of the investigation, as well as the identity of witnesses and or informants who are cooperating with law enforcement. We got witnesses and informants cooperating with law enforcement. He also wrote it could endanger the lives of witnesses and or compromise the investigation. The Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Craig Richmond agreed and granted the LAPD's request that the medical examiner finding be sealed pending another court decision. All right, so for those that are new, that are just coming in, y'all, the LA Times dropped an article today. Let me repeat myself. The LA Times dropped an article today, a couple of 10 minutes ago, y'all. Breaking the news right away on the YouTube streets, okay? Please give me my flowers for that. Please note that. They dropped an article a couple minutes ago. I have a subscription to the LA Times. Look, they are saying that there has been a grand jury. There's a grand jury that's hearing evidence related to the death of Celeste Rivas, whose body was discovered inside of the trunk, okay? Two law enforcement sources told the LA Times. All right. And they have been meeting. They further say that the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence to what's known as an investigative grand jury, according to the sources who spoke on the conditions of under anonymity because they're not authorized to discuss the case in media. And grand jury meetings are not public, guys. It's not like something, well, I'm going to go attend. No, it doesn't work that way. All right. So, yes, this is good news as the wheels turn for justice for Celeste. The hope is now, and it sounds like this grand jury has been meeting for a couple weeks. The hope is now is that they return with an indictment, with a charge, that they move forward with charging D4VD and other accomplices, because it looks like there might have been others that have been responsible with handling Celeste's body. Okay. That's where we're at. We needed this. This is breaking news, breaking amazing news. We don't need, look, let me tell you, because even you got Garagos over here struggling to keep his eyes open. Insider finally breaks silence on investigation. I haven't even watched this. I don't even know what this is about. But before they did that, the LA Times dropped this and said, y'all, we have a grand jury that's meeting. Literally. So all of this information is not public. They don't put this out public when the grand jury's meeting. Please note that. Finally, some good news. Absolutely. Hold up. Oh my God, Slide. Thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Sorry, my love. Slide and Dee gifted, guys. Make sure you guys put some hearts in the chat, please, and thank you. Literally, when I saw this breaking news, I was like, I need to come and talk to you guys about it, because I know that, all of you guys that have been following this case from the jump, you know that this is amazing news for a lot of us. We are on it. You recorded You said I recorded the whole video. They cut about 3 minutes. See 9-1 Darby? I'm telling you, anytime you watch a TMZ video, you kind of have to know that they're going to edit and put different things. Some things they might show, some things they do, and some things they don't. Some things they put on private because they don't want to air everything. Like the person when they were laughing at Charlie Kirk's death, however you feel about that, it's either here or there, but there was people that was laughing and they didn't get to cut that part right away. So they were kicking each other when all of that got aired and they got exposed for that. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Celeste will have justice now. This is amazing, y'all. This is amazing news. Okay. The scary thing with the grand juries, though, is that they can make or break a case. Keep that in mind. Yes. So if you pray, if you believe in prayer, if you're a prayer warrior, listen, pray that there is going to be a level of accountability for this. Here's the quick recap for those that are coming late. No worries. I have no problems repeating myself. LA Times dropped an article today. Apparently, the information is that there is a grand jury that has been meeting for several weeks regarding D4VD. The prosecutor's office has been basically displaying evidence for, this grand jury. So where we're at right now is there have been secret meetings with this grand jury. The document that the detective, during the week submitted on Friday about a murder investigation was labeled GJ, which stands for grand jury. So they have been meeting with a grand jury, showing evidence so that they can move forward with charges. And it looks like it's not just going to be D4VD. There might be other individuals involved that, had to deal that were dealing with her body as well. Again, breaking news. The Los Angeles County Grand Jury is hearing evidence related to the death of Celeste Rivas. Okay. This is what two law enforcement told the LA Times. LA Times, very reputable journalism. Okay. So I don't think that they would just put stuff out there. And they have Richard Winston and James Quealy. So two journalists that wrote this article. The revelations follow after the gruesome discovery of Celeste Rivas. So you have the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence to this grand jury. Now it's an investigative grand jury, according to the sources. They spoke under anonymity. They don't want their information out there because why? They're not supposed to talk. Okay. So apparently the grand jury has had several sessions for several days in mid-November this month. Okay. Mid-November. Now it makes sense. We got a security hold. We got they're moving forward, y'all. This is amazing news for those that are seeking justice for Celeste Rivas. Okay. So prosecutors may convene an investigative grand jury to subpoena witnesses, compel other evidence, including videos. Such investigative panels may recommend charges, but cannot themselves return an indictment. Okay. So they can recommend charges. They can't return an indictment. That's kind of where we're at, just so people are aware. In addition, I think I said that they were waiting for an indictment, but let me correct myself. They can recommend charges, not return indictment. The indictment would have come from the prosecutor's office. In addition to those law enforcement officers, the court petition provided to the Times. So they provided this court petition. Remember that petition that said that they're looking into, they need a file sealed because there's people that are speaking out, witnesses, everything needs to be under seal, right? That document was labeled GJ, which is grand jury. All right. That document with that reference, GJ is grand jury. So all of this is being revealed, y'all. And this is amazing, amazing breaking news as we're moving forward for justice for Celeste. Okay. Whew. Quick little rundown. That's kind of where we're at. All right. They're sweating now. It sounds like it's going to be moving forward. I'm here. You said Emmy might say no cause of death and murder. They might. But even though they have labeled that undetermined or unspecified cause of death, whatever the label is, the prosecutor's office can return. And it sounds like there's multiple detectives that feel the same way. Guys, if a grand jury is meeting, they're looking at evidence. This is a good route. This is the route that we want to go. Okay. This is where we want to go. We're getting closer to justice for Celeste. This is why things have been under seal. People are, trying to quiet the public down, correct misinformation, because at the end of the day, you know, we could say a bunch of things about D4VD. Hell, his own music video can say a bunch of things about D4VD. But at the end of the day, I still want this man, if he is charged with this, he should have a fair trial, right? Because what I don't want is that there's going to be later on, God forbid, there's an appeal because there was an unfair trial. No, we want him to have a fair trial. Okay, if this is the route that this goes, that's what we want. We want a fair trial so that he can be convicted rightfully, as well as any other accomplices that were part of this situation, that concealed the situation, that went on about their life like nothing had happened. Okay, that's what we want. This is amazing news. Okay, you said they have high-tech evidence will bust them. Let's see. Okay. You said, okay, that's what I said earlier in my comment, is because they want him to have a fair trial. I think so too. I think OG Annabelle, I think that's why. Let me put this out here. I don't know what sources told what to TMZ. The source, the freezing source, does not make sense to me unless, let's do what for the time frame, okay? The source, the information that was leaked out there still doesn't make sense to me, right? Unless you're saying that there was another person that was handling the body while D4VD was on tour, moving it around. If there was a freezer in the Tesla, or not a freezer, but a refrigerator, whatever, y'all. I don't know, okay? If all of this was happening, okay? It would make sense for the detective in LAPD to say, the head, that's misinformation. Why? Because if they're looking to charge him with murder, you want him to have a fair trial, right? So we don't even know any of this. Like, it just really depends on where you land and what you believe. Honestly, it says like nothing is happening. Like, how can you sleep? Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. And I hope, first of all, if you knew, even for D4VD, that this is what happened to Celeste, someone that was your muse for various things, right? Someone that he was around. There's freaking videos and pictures that allegedly it's him and her and everything. Something happened to her, and this is what you do, and then you go about your life. And the most craziest thing is that video, y'all. I can never get over that video where he's literally praying. He's doing, what is it, the D4VD prayers or something like that. That is insane to me. To even know that is what's going on. Like, that's crazy. Crazy. I don't know. How do you the conviction prayers is disgusting. Now, I did see, like I said, I saw that this was dropped. I have not watched it. It's a clip. Put a 1 in the chat. I am curious. Should we react to it? I got a little bit of time here. Put a 1 in the chat if we should react to it. Let me know. Hold up. And I can repeat the breaking news again, but put a 1 in the chat if we should react to it. Kellyanne, thank you so much for becoming a member. Flo Joe just gifted 5 memberships, y'all. Put some hearts in the chat for Flo Joe, please, and thank you. Fire Rabbit, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Shout out to you. XOX, thank you so much for the super sticker, my love. Thank you, really appreciate it. Yeah, okay. I have not seen it. I have not seen this. I've seen it from always you up for a reaction from you, always up for a reaction from me. Lord have mercy. All right, well, I'm gonna speed it up because look, I'm happy about the grand jury part. That made my day today. Content creator, I'm happy about this grand jury stuff. So hopefully this doesn't disappoint me. I don't know why it would make me happy, but let's see what Garrigos has to say.
You know, if you've been watching us meet every week or every other week and discuss this gives you quite a bit of context into everything we've seen. You said about a month or 2 months ago you've never seen the way they clamped down on this from LAPD. Famously, you guys have had great sources there for years. We now know, based on the blast from the medical examiner, why that is, because the medical examiner is trying to, so people understand, the medical examiner is not an arm of the LAPD. The LAPD does have a lab. They do have a forensics division. That is not the medical examiner. The medical examiner is a standalone vertical area where they want to be professional. They want to do things in such a way that guys like me, the defense lawyer, don't get up there and say, you're only saying that because the detective came and he fed you A, B, C, D, or E, and led you to believe and basically programmed you to get to a point where you would come to a conclusion that'll fit with our investigation. This current medical examiner, instead of being pilloried by law enforcement, actually is doing what he should do. He's adhering to a scientific method, which is, I'm going to take in all the information and I'm going to come to a scientific conclusion, not the one that's preordained by law enforcement.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's why they're independent. Here's the deal, y'all. Here's another thing that I was thinking too. If I was Blair Burke and I'm friends with Garagos and Harvey Levin, whatever, if I'm a friend of these guys, I would be so mad right now if D4VD is my client and y'all are like flip-flopping, tortilla flopping, whatever it may be. Like, I'd be like, TMZ, what the hell? Like, you guys are my friends, right? So I do wonder what Blair Burke, if she's still representing him, because I don't know. She has not publicly made a statement. We've assumed that that's the case because we've been getting our sources from all of this. But I do wonder, how's the lady feeling right now with the besties talking?
So when he comes out and he says this should be transparent, he is absolutely right. And one of the reasons is that you're also getting, and Harvey, you've said this, so it didn't come to me, you've said that your sources are saying you can't think logically. One of the problems
well, not that I can't think logically, right? That we should not look at the case and the facts of the
Okay, so let me stop right here. So you're saying that he wants there to be transparency from the coroner's office. He agrees, right? From the ME. I'm going to make a very controversial statement, and there's a reason why I'm just going to say this. They removed her name, and I know I want transparency too, right? Public records need to be public, right? Two factors that I think we should consider. Number one, she's a minor, right? So a lot of that is going to be sealed. I think age plays a factor into this. The other part to this too is that if the reason why the information was sealed is because you have a grand jury meeting for the purposes of bringing justice to this child that died the way that she died under the circumstances, I'm okay with sealing a file. I'm okay with people shutting up and not giving information in law enforcement. If I didn't hear today that the LA Times, they had two sources, we would have never known. If the LA Times did not break this, right? Personally, I get it. I want transparency from every public office, every public official and everything. I want there to be transparency, right? But for the purposes of a grand jury, I'm here for it. There's a grand jury meeting and they're going to move forward with this. Wouldn't you want that? Put one in the chat. Like, I hate the fact that there's secrecy, but I'm okay as long as I know that there's a grand jury meeting to move forward. Now I have an understanding of what process they're about to make here.
Case when come out should not be, can't apply logic to all of it.
There's many times, Charles, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
There's many times when I've said Harvey doesn't think logically.
Yes, I've seen, definitely.
So the part of the problem here is, in my opinion, LAPD wants a result, and the medical examiner is pushing back against that, and rightfully so. The medical examiner is not there to just be the handmaiden for law enforcement. The medical examiner is there so that you don't have to, as a defense lawyer or somebody who has been accused of a crime, you have to go out and hire an independent pathologist to come in and actually give you what the real facts.
So decode this, because it seems like, to me at least, that maybe if there's a dogfight, it's that we are told the medical examiner may not be able to determine cause of death, and the LAPD wants them to say homicide.
Correct. I think that's number one. I think number two, you reported that the body was frozen. I know you have jumped to the conclusion that it was, or speculation that it was a freezer. I personally think, even though we've been cautioned against thinking logically.
Oh, they just told on themselves. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They just told on themselves. Look.
Be able to determine cause of death, and the LAPD wants them to say homicide.
Correct. I think
The LAPD wants him to say homicide. He says correct. Hold up. Look what he just said.
that's number one. I think number two, you reported that the body was frozen. I know you had jumped to the conclusion that it was, or speculation that it was a freezer. I personally think, even though we've been cautioned against.
You jumped to the speculation that it was a freezer. He just told on themselves. So it wasn't that an officer told him that it was a freezer or that it was frozen. You jumped to the speculation that it was a freezer. There you go. There you go.
Thinking logically that if you're going to run with a theory, and a theory is people being triangulated in a location far away that's desolate outside of LA County, that it's more consistent with somebody who is disposed of a body and the body has somehow, because of the elements, frozen, and you are now bringing that body back somewhere else or digging the body back up. I know it's ghoulish, but obviously when you're investigating these cases, whether you're on the defense, the prosecution, or the ME, you're taking a look at the evidence and what does the evidence suggest? And that to me is a working theory of what they are looking at.
Yeah.
I think, reported, and what I'm being told is that there is water involved, whether it's frozen or not frozen.
That's different, Garagos. He didn't say water. I mean, of course, water, you need free. Like, I get this. Y'all see, this is damage control here. Harvey Levin and team speculated it was frozen based on what they have concluded, based on the information. It's very likely that the officer, his sources didn't even say frozen. They concluded that. So then guess what? We came back, LAPD came back, and he said, nope, it was not frozen. No, it did not happen this way. You're not considering the pooling. Now this guy, I'm glad that I reacted to this now. Now this guy is changing the narrative to say what? Whether frozen or whether there was frozen or water in there. What do you mean? Ice, water? Like, this is important, what he put out there. Hold up.
Does the evidence suggest? And that to me is a working theory of what they are looking at. I think, reported, and what I'm being told is that there is water involved, whether it's frozen or not.
He said it was frozen. He could have just said she could not have been identified because there was water in the bag, or at least substance in the bag, something in the bag, right? This is way different than for you, because they literally wrote in their article, frozen. Parts of her were frozen. So what did we see yesterday was a working theory. And instead of just saying that, they said that their law enforcement sources told them that she was frozen. That's what they said. This, my friends, is a good example of putting your foot in your mouth right there.
Frozen. Water is connected to this body, and that is something they can't.
It's in the, documents. It refers to her fingers being waterlogged, and they weren't able to get fingerprints because they were so waterlogged. So
there you go. They weren't able to get fingerprints. However, because she's waterlogged does not mean she was frozen.
So what I don't understand, Mark, is why this security hold that LAPD is now, they got this court order so that none of the ME's findings can come out at this point. But what does that do? How does that help LAPD? They're not, I mean, the findings are what they are. As you said, the ME is applying scientific method. He's going to come up, his office is going to come up with the results, whatever they are, or maybe they can't come up with a result. That doesn't change. Why does LAPD need a security hold to stop that from coming out?
I'm going to guess, once again, wild speculation. I know the judge who is apparently signed this order.
Richmond.
Richmond. I've known him since he was a DA. I've tried cases since he's been a judge in his courtroom, jury trials in his courtroom. He's a very ex-prosecutor, as I said, very by the book. If they came to him initially and he rejected it, it was because he didn't buy whatever it was they were selling. If they shopped it to him, he was not the first judge, but the second judge, and they disclosed to him that somebody else, some other judge had rejected it, he would have held their feet to the fire. And he's an incredibly, this was a guy who was doing high-level murder prosecutions when he was a DA. He would hold, when I say hold their feet to the fire, he's not going to issue a security hold just because LAPD says the ME is leaking. There has to be a basis upon which they are claiming to the judge, our investigation is being compromised by the leaks coming out of the coroner's office. That is it. There is no other.
And they said the leaks coming from the coroner's office, mind you, and this is just the website, unless there's other leaks.
compelling reason that I can think of, or at least one compelling reason that I can think of, that he would sign an order telling another agency head, I'm issuing a security hold and you can't talk.
So wait a minute. So you're saying that they're making an assumption, at least with us, that our sources are not coming from LAPD but are coming from the ME.
Correct. That's exactly what they're doing.
That's total speculation on their part.
Well,
What?
Our
sources are coming. We didn't even know that they were talking to the ME until yesterday when Harvey said, hey, now we also have a source from the ME and LAPD that they're contradicting themselves. Like, what?
I haven't seen it. I'm going to tell you, based on doing this longer than Charles has been alive, that there is very, understand the kind of what you are navigating here. If you're the LAPD going in to get this order, there are public accountability and transparency issues. There are free speech issues. There are other prior restraint issues. So they can try to dress up the order or the request in all kinds of other ways. But the only way that navigates all of those concerns and is constitutionally proper is if they allege it's compromising the investigation.
Interesting.
And Mark,
and clearly the judge agreed because now you got all this stuff on seal, right? Your cousin SB, thank you so much for the $2. A plastic bag can have fingerprints on it, right? Yes. DNA can be left on a plastic bag. There's a lot that could be left on a plastic bag. Liz Lolo 72, thank you for becoming a member. Olsen, my goodness, 13 months. Shout out to you, Olsen. I hope Celeste gets the justice she deserved. Absolutely. Terry Carpenter, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you. And Olsen, again, thank you so much for your milestone membership. Thank you for supporting the channel. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. They said that it's an investigative grand jury. They cannot return indictment. I did correct myself. Please note that they cannot return indictment. That would be for the prosecutor's office. But this is a good step, right, towards where we want to go. People are meeting. People are seeing evidence. This is amazing news.
I have been around a long, long time covering LAPD, and I have never seen a case. In fact, to me, the best example that news reports don't compromise a case is O.J. Simpson. That there was evidence that when I was at KCBS in Los Angeles, we were reporting 2 days later that there was blood going from the bodies of Ron and Nicole at Nicole's house into O.J.'s bedroom and bathroom. And yet he was found not guilty. So the idea that leaks could change the outcome of a case, to me, is preposterous.
We're going to get sidetracked for a second. I'll get on my soapbox there. I have evolved, and I admit I used to be very anti this idea of kind of a free, transparent, robust discussion pre-trial and during trial. I used to argue about the Contempt of Court Act out of England and stuff like that. I think you're right in this sense. I can't tell you the number of times in high-profile cases where there is a robust, transparent discussion in the media that there has been exculpatory evidence that has come about that we never would have learned if it had been done under cover of night. It's frankly, I think it's one of the reasons that now prosecutors are always trying to muzzle the defense and tamp down any kind of publicity or gag orders, because they understand that if you start getting all kinds of robust citizen involvement, it's a very dangerous thing to whatever prosecutor.
I'm going to try to move on because I'm like, can we get back to Celeste? They're kind of talking about death and
trust is, and has said, I'm going to stand my ground. That's a very tough position, given the symbiotic relationship historically that the ME's office has with law enforcement.
Yeah, I never seen anything like it. I never saw it.
We're still on this relationship with the ME's office and LAPD. Okay.
I would say Thomas Noguchi.
Maybe. But Thomas, we're even aging ourselves here, so let's not get into negotiation.
And yeah, you can't afford to do that. You can't afford to age yourself, either you guys.
I love Charles is a great bolt-on to this podcast.
Okay, I just can't. Barbara Bish, thank you so much for the 199. Good news. Thank you for your coverage. Yes, y'all, I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited for this news. I think this is amazing news. I'm trying to all right, are we going to go back to the topic at hand, or what? Are we still going to stroke our egos?
Don't want it all out there. I'm trying to figure out what would be the danger to their investigation, that their suspect or suspects that they have are going to learn what it is they're looking at. I mean, I just don't know if the ME came out and said,
you know what? I don't even think TMZ knows about this grand jury. Maybe their sources didn't tell them that. Okay.
Here's what happened. That her body was partially frozen. We can't, for whatever reason, we can't get fingerprints. We can't determine manner or cause of death. how does that hurt?
Garagos, we still on the frozen part? We still on the frozen part, y'all. Garagos just said, I think that this is a theory that a working theory that you came up with, not that his source told him. We still on that? Oh my God. Zoe Thompson, thank you so much for becoming a member, love. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you. They still on this. Hurry up.
LAPD with their case, with their suspects. I still
Well,
can't
this is
figure that
the
part
thing.
out.
They're going to say that if there is information about the cause of death or the manner or the circumstances surrounding it, that that information coming out is then going to cause the purported suspects to destroy evidence or to flee. They always default to flight risk, always default to destruction of evidence. Those are going to be the kind of things that they red flag up. The problem with that is, and it's happened already this week, even people who watch Harvey and I on the podcast, I get calls, I get leads. I'm sure you guys get the same thing where people say, wait a second, I now saw something here, there, or whatever. If there is no reporting on this, if what they had started off doing, where, and Harvey, I forget the date when you said it, you're on tape saying, I've never seen the kind of clamping down of sources in an investigation. That was weeks, if not months ago. This case may actually, in some ways, have been delayed by virtue of that, as opposed to making progression. Remember that.
You know the weird thing though, Mark? It's like that was so true up until like a week and a half ago. And then the floodgates just opened. And I'm not sure what
Something
happened.
changed.
I don't know what that was.
Something changed.
Something
I think
happened.
it was the court order. I think
It might have been the court order.
I think it was. I mean, you talk about the law of unintended consequences.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know what's so? I'm going to ask again, guys. Why didn't, if they have LAPD law, sources, why didn't they find out about this grand jury that had been meeting several weeks, based on the information that we have now from the LA Times? How come they don't know that? They're not even breaking the story.
Court order, so none of this can come out, and then
everybody comes out
talking about.
Oh my God. Okay, my friend, have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Charles. Great addition.
Listen, Harvey looks good for 75. I'll say that. Sometimes he doesn't really open his eyes a lot. I don't know if that's just like a thing. Sometimes he doesn't look okay, but he looks okay. I mean, literally, he's got the money to pay for it. So yeah. Yes, justice for Celeste. Okay, my mind is blown now too. Yes, so this is amazing news, y'all. Breaking news for those that are coming in again. I don't think that I got a whole lot out of the TMZ thing. I think I'm just over them. It's been a lot of ups and downs in my mind with the TMZ stuff. So the LA grand jury now probing. Okay, now looking, and it's an investigative grand jury. They're looking into this situation. Okay, and I think it's amazing. They have a panel, they have jurors there. It's a secret grand jury, and so they're not going to come back with an indictment per se, but they're likely going to come back with recommendations for the prosecutor. All right, so again, for those that came in late, this is the breaking news for today. Amazing, we got on it right away. I think within like the 8 minutes that it dropped, that's when I clocked this article. This is what it says. It says 8 minutes when it dropped. So they were hearing evidence, and they've been hearing evidence all the last couple weeks, I guess in November, about this case. Okay. So grand jury hearing evidence over the death of Celeste Rivas, and the revelation follows, of course, over the gruesome death and the discovery of her body and whatnot. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence to what's known as an investigative grand jury. Okay, and this is again according to two LAPD law enforcement sources. Now, they need to be secret under anonymity. They can't talk about it because clearly everybody cannot talk at this point. One of the sources said that this grand jury has had several days in mid-November for session, and they have been, showing evidence, everything, basically to move forward with a recommended, charge to D4VD. And it looks like there might be multiple at this point. So prosecutors may convene a investigative grand jury to subpoena witnesses and compel other evidence, right, to review it, including videos. But these are just panels, and they may recommend charges from that, but they cannot return an indictment. So a lot of this is under secrecy. When the officer, the detective that went to court and was making the argument about how things needed to be sealed, they saw that the court petition contained the two initials, GJ, which stands for grand jury, followed by the number. Okay, so this is huge news for a lot of us that have been following the Celeste Rivas case. I think this is amazing news, and the wheels are moving slowly. But guys, it's not that the LAPD, it's not like nobody's doing anything. There have been secret meetings. Things have been on the low. People are meeting to move forward. Grand jury. And I'm sorry, like I'm like in shock by this news, because I guess I just didn't expect it. I don't know, man. Like, they're moving forward with things. I think that's what a lot of us wanted, and I'm so here for it. And again, the article from the LA Times dropped. As soon as it dropped, I just happened to be searching, because you got to check your markers and search stuff as a content creator, and this came up. So I'm here for it. This is amazing news. Amazing news. Chantel, thank you so much for this super sticker. Appreciate it. Kellyanne, thank you for the $10. Thank you for keeping us updated. I try. I really try. Thank you. And Tara Mitchell, thank you. Make sure you guys are liking this video, hyping it up. I'm going to let you be, because y'all, I got to get stuff ready for this holiday situation ship. I might be live later. I might drop a pre-recorded, just depending on maybe summarizing this a little bit better. I apologize if I misspoke, or I'm just so excited, y'all. I'm excited. This is amazing, good news. So shout out to y'all. Y'all are amazing. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.